talked to Brother Jonesley and Brother Bird about getting my license, and they told me good luck. But we're here because we have a brother, Alan. And we're willing to go on deputation for 16 years if we have to. We want to make it happen. Whatever this board decides, if you send us, it's the right thing. If you don't, well, we will pray for you. You hear the same voices we do.
Thank you very much. What level of appointment are you all applying for?
The level that gets us to Tuna Puna. So we don't want to. How about the best level?
Sister Doreen, do y'all have children?
No, sir.
You don't.
Thank God. I mean,
Do you have any pets?
I have a little dog, and he travels with us in our camper. Pretty good little fella.
he's a walleye cat lover.
Very good. Well, you realize when you're on deputation, and we'll have Brother, what's the director of promotions name? Afro-Nathy. We'll ask him to tell us here in a moment about deputation. But we're going to ask the regional director to give us a potential job description. And if you are willing and able to do this job description, we want you to let us know. Serious moment. We really do prepare a job description. We cannot ask you if you are healthy to do it. We cannot ask you if you're mentally able to do it, but we read a job description that will be your real job description. And you have to answer, yes, we're willing and able to do it. So, Brother Schwartz, would you give us a job description for Brother and Sister Dearly?
Yes, for Brother and Sister Dearly, your job description would be that if you are appointed upon arrival to Tuna Puna, you would live in the capital city. And of course, you know, you will be getting your Seats for Christ vehicle.
Holy mackerel.
But since Tuna Puna is a nationalized work, you will be working with the national board. You will be subject to not only the national board and the global missions board, but we will require you to work together. Any position that they would elect you in, we would expect you to fulfill that position with everything that you have. You will be working in the Bible school, director of the Bible school. You'll be working in the training of the nationals, in the reaching of the lost. We also would like for Sister Doreen to be involved with the ladies' ministry. And Tuna Puna doesn't have much of that right now, so we would like her to be involved with that and raise the ladies' ministry up in that country. They also need Sunday school. They haven't had much Sunday school around, so we would want you to be involved in Sunday school, trying to help get those things going. There's also the fact that the youth, I know you're outside of that age group, but we really would like for you to both be involved in helping the youth. You look like a very nice couple that can be able to do that, and we would appreciate that very much.
Do you need new glasses?
And of course, you know, maintain the doctrine and influence the people and godly looking commands. That's very important.
Okay, very good. Brother and Sister.
Let me, we wouldn't want to forget GATS, the Bible school. And we definitely would, that you would be a participator in GATS, you know, not in some of those other programs that I'm not going to mention.
We believe in having guts. All the way through.
Very good. Brother and Sister Dearly, you've heard the potential job description if this board would appoint you. Do you feel like you're willing and able to fulfill that job description?
As long as they'll do exactly what I say when I say it, I don't want to and that's sounded like an awful lot of stuff to do. Me too. You sure you want to do this? Whatever we can do for the kingdom.
Very good. So I need a verbal yes if you're willing to do it.
Verbal yes.
You know, I have to say, we've never quite met a couple just like you before.
We are unique.
Very good. Well, we're going to open up for questions from the board. Brethren, do you have any questions for this couple? Brother Adams. I'm sorry, Brother who?
1 out of 12.
Thank you, Brother Howell. Brother and Sister Dearland, it's a joy to have you in this interview today, and we appreciate your consecration and dedication and instigation and everything that brought you here. I just have a question. It's somewhat of a doctrinal question, and as you know, cultures are different outside of our North American culture, and some countries have customs that are really sometimes a little bit complicated to deal with. And I understand that in Tuna Puna that red is a funeral color, and you'd never wear red. And I just wonder, Sister Dearland, how you would. I was just wondering how you would wisely teach, our holiness Christian living standards in Tuna Puna.
Well, as you can see, I'm all about conservative. Normally I wear a hat, but I told Brother Buck this morning, this is a serious situation, and I ain't wearing no hat, but that's a little over the top. Right to come down and dress conservative, because that's just how I feel about it. It's very serious. So, red's my favorite color. What I do, Buck?
You know, they're heathen. Doctor down there, they either choke on it or digest it.
Brother Linda, whatever it was.
Brother and Sister Dearling, we want you to know that this board loves you from the heart of our bottoms. And you wouldn't believe it, but I'm really excited to see you all here today. And I just wanted to know, as a financial question, you both being highly educated, have you been able to pay off your student loans?
I thought the government paid for it.
We have applied at UGST for loan book. And we have not heard back from them yet. Our student loans are $12 for me, and hers is $11. She took a lesser course. But we hope to have them paid off by the time our 4-year deputation is over.
Brother Slayton.
I would follow up with Brother Shalm's question. I did notice on your financial report, the background check and the credit check, you have a lot of outstanding debt. You have 2 fifth wheels, 3 trucks, and 2 houses. And
I traveled that too.
yeah,
We are entrepreneurs, Brother Stephen.
yeah. So my question would be this: when you go to the field, your disposable income will decrease. Get a lot of benefits as a missionary, but your disposable income is going to decrease. What is your plan for paying off these tens of thousands of dollars in outstanding loans that you have out there?
Well, our plan was to park up behind headquarters and just leave.
Serious point, we do a credit check on you. And when you go to the field, we really do ask questions if you have debt. Because while we try to take care of our missionaries, we want to make sure that you do not have a lot of debt that you have to pay. Brother Slayton, any other observations on that? We also do background checks on you. We have had some missionaries that have had some things that have happened in their background that do restrict them. I mean, they're in the church now and everything's okay, but we do have to look into all of that. And those, we do look into that. And if there is a problem, we do have to talk about it. Many times, if there is a debt problem, you might not even make it to the board to meet the board until we can verify that you're able to take care of your debt. That is important. Any other questions on that, or comments to the folks? Okay.
Quick question, Brother Powell.
Yes.
Brother Dearling, thank you so much for your service on the AIM program. You're one of the stars that we have. How many years have you been on AIM?
19? This is our 20th anniversary on AIM.
Were you aware that you should be providing a monthly report each month that you're on the field?
We have never received a monthly report.
And let me ask the question of the regional director. Is this a couple that you've actually met?
Folks, that is a real thing on the board. We won't say who, but we ask that regional director all the time if they've met these applicants. Anyway,
Have you served on the Associate Missionary Program?
We know not that there is such a thing.
Firm nor deny.
So you probably weren't aware that we pretty well require applicants to serve on AIM for a year and then serve on the Associate Missionary Program?
My understanding of the policy from the blog where the missionaries talk is that after 20 years of service, you get retirement no matter what. So I would just, under the assumption that I would just move up the ladder without going through all these steps.
Well, like I said, it has been a pleasure to have you on the program, and I would be very happy to turn you over to a different level.
Thank you very much.
Brother and Sister Dearling, if this board would decide that it's not God's will for us to appoint you, and the vote would be a negative, and you're aware that in order to be appointed, you have to receive a 2/3 vote, what would your reaction be and what would you do?
Well, I'd first write a letter to the whole organization telling them of my disappointment in the ungodly and unlistening ears of the board. And I would make myself a campaigner against the global.
Sister Dearling, how do you feel about that?
I'm a buck.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Our Brother Afronathi is busy right now, but he'll be with us shortly. He would talk to you about deputation and stuff.
He won't answer my calls.
Yeah, he tends to be that way. If you've been on AIM, I guess you're going into your 20th year. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
That's probably a record.
We are
record.
humble. We are humble.
Yeah. So how have you been able to raise your funding? What's your fundraising mechanism? How do you do it?
Well, we joined a pyramid some years ago of selling homeless dogs to people who give a lot of money to them. So we've been taking dogs out of backyards. It's been working.
Brethren, do you have any other questions?
Brother Deering, I noticed that part of your job description is to be in the GATS program and be over the Bible school. And I was just wondering two things. Number one, what is your understanding of the GATS program? And then number two, how are you going to implement the training program there in Tuna Puna?
My understanding is that without guts, you can't win the war. And Brother Precious has made this guts program for us. I have not been privy to read it, but I'm sure if they had asked me, I would have written books for it, because I'm a writer. And I'm very talented when it comes to teaching heathens about the way of the Lord. We have led, what, 2 people to Jesus? Well, almost 2 people to Jesus in the 20 years we've been able. And that's almost to a 10-year period. It's something like that. It's astronomical. So yeah, we need to teach them. We would stand there and teach them. You know, how long are these sessions?
Well, a GAT session is normally about 52 minutes to an hour.
Oh, I can talk that long. Huh? I could draw pictures on a board and stuff too. Yeah, no problem. I'm very talented when it comes to keeping people's attention with things.
Well, brethren, it seems like that we've had time to ask questions.
Nobody said anything about deputation.
Well, when Brother Afro-Matthew comes, he'll explain it to you. Do you want to talk about deputation?
No, I just want you to know I brought my calendar and I can start just about any time. It's kind of wide open.
Well, we'll explain that to you. But before we conclude, we just want to know, do you have any questions for us before we conclude?
Yeah, what time is lunch? And if we have to pay or is it free because we call it? The coupons are for Brother Howard, I told you.
Thank you very much. Let me just explain that when you all leave, we're going to have a word of prayer. We want God's will. We consider this a very serious thing. When we deal with the lives of people, we want you to know we consider it serious. And would like to say that when you leave, we will take a secret ballot. And if you receive 2/3 of the ballot, we do not make the appointment, we just recommend the appointment to the general board. And we will make that recommendation to the general board, which meets next week. But your regional director will let you know whether we have recommended it or not. And so we want you to stand, and we'll have a word of prayer, and pray for God's will. In Jesus' name, you may be seated.
That was great.
I hope this has been entertaining. But brethren, can you help me with some pointers? Let me say, number one, when people come to meet the board, there's sometimes 2 extremes. Sometimes people don't hardly say anything. They're so afraid. And then there's other times that people say too much. They talk too long. We usually give probably 10, 15 minutes for them to, for the applicant to express their burden and so forth and so on. That would be one of the observations I would have. Other observations for the AIM training. Yes.
Oh, okay, you appoint a committee to evaluate their application in advance, and so if there's any salient feature that needs to be brought out, generally in the questioning time, that's when questions will be asked to the candidate about something that stands out in the application.
Also, with some couples that are not on the field at that time, a board member will go to their home and visit with them, and they give us a report before the applicant comes in. There's probably a few things I'm forgetting about here, but this is basically, it is a serious time, and I'm going to be honest with you, many times the interview just really makes our mind up whether we want to appoint the couple or not. Brother Schwartz.
Always in the interview, there's going to be a question concerning doctrine.
Yes, doctrinal questions. Brother Crossley, you
That
have.
was my point.
Okay.
Because we do want to make sure that every missionary not only believes the fundamental doctrine, but that they're very clear in their teaching to where they're going.
Brother Abernathy.
In all seriousness, you will also be asked about deputation and when you can start. Your ability to do this and when you can get on the deputation trail, because we may have at that time deputation immediately. So we'll work on that. The other thing is, one of the biggest things that affects the board is that you bring in your burden and your calling. If you do not express that, you will not get appointed. You have to bring it from your heart.
Okay. Brother Poitras.
Brother Howell, I would just say, in all seriousness, there's nobody that wants you to succeed any more than the Global Missions Board. So if you reach that stage in your life where you're going to meet the Global Missions Board, keep that in mind. The people on that board, they want you to succeed. And unfortunately, for the Tuna Puna, these missionaries at the Tuna Puna place probably won't get appointed today. But the system is pretty well set. The system is pretty well set so that you're on AIM, you're on the Associate Missionary Program, you've proved yourself before you ever meet the board. I'm not promising everyone that's been on AIM is going to be appointed, but if you meet the Global Missions Board, you have gone through a very strenuous process, and I would like to encourage you, don't try to fast track it. Don't put pressure on your regional director to fast track it. You do everything that you can do to strengthen your application, not to weaken the application. So if you're told that you need to go ahead and do AIM for a year, and then you do the Associate Missionary Program, the advice that you're given, don't try to fast track it. Fast tracking will not work to your advantage. It will work to your disadvantage.
Also in the interview, there will be, if there are questions we ask, a committee that's looked at it, we do sometimes find things that we need to ask questions about, maybe something that's happened on the field, and it's very important that you be very transparent and tell us, this is what happened on the field, I had a problem, or this or that or the other. So, it's a good time. Do you have any questions? And I mean, we're really supposed to be finished right now, but do you have any questions about meeting the board? Yes?
I guess is the Associate Missionary Program, they don't go before the board, they go before...
The Associate Missionary Program, those interviews are handled by the Global Missions Administrative Committee, and they're done by a video interview.
Yeah. In fact, we have someone in here, I'm not going to say who, that will be meeting the administrative committee next week for associate missionary appointment. Somebody that's here right now, and I'm not going to say who it is. But some of you may know, but there is someone here that will be meeting, and it's done video. But the thing about associate missions program, it's excellent, and because and then AIM, because we know you. It's not like we do not know you. When an associate missionary comes in to meet the board, we basically know quite a bit about you, and it's a great advantage. Any other questions? Yes.
I'm just curious, so before you can do the associate missionary, you have to do AIM for at least 1 year.
Yes.
Is there a time frame where you, like, a certain amount of time you have to be associate missionary before? Or just,
We ask you to be on the Associate Missionary Program on the field for 8 months before you make application.
Because we want you to be on the associate missionary program at least a year. You can make the application after 8 months because it takes that long for the application to get going. So, good question, yes.
The 1 year for AIM before AMP, is that cumulative 1 year or is it 1 year?
Cumulative. Yes.
At what point in the whole process would it make sense for someone to obtain a license, a ministerial license?
I mean, if you feel a call to the ministry, I would get the license as soon as possible with the guidance of your pastor, whoever you're working under, but I would do that as soon as possible. And let me say, remember, get in the program. Get in a program. Do not say, well, you know, I'm just going to go stay for this time and I'm not going to apply. None of that applies to this. You need to get in some kind of a program, and that's why we're working on this umbrella, to be able to get you in programs that get you, what do we say, tenure in global missions, because that applies for the future. Am I making myself clear on that?
I think the point to make about the Deerlings is that they wouldn't be able to even meet this board without being licensed.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been able to meet us.
And associate missionary.
Associate missionary.
Has to be licensed.
Associate missionary. Okay? Any other questions?
Do you
Yes?
need to have a local or general, or does it not matter? Just-
Local.
For career, you have to have ordination,
Yeah.
but intermediate and associate local general.
Now, let me say as well, and we'll conclude with this, the associate missionary, the difference between associate missionary and intermediate, when you become an intermediate missionary, you become an employee of the organization. When you're an associate missionary, you're not, so we do not have to provide. When someone becomes an employee as an intermediate missionary, we are obligated to provide all kinds of benefits. I mean, we want to, but associate missionary, it allows you to have a much smaller budget. You are aware, I don't know if we want to get into that, what a budget of an associate missionary is. You can get all that information. Any other questions? Any other pointers for them meeting the board? Yes.
One more, questions about license. Is it tougher to get licensed once you're overseas?
Pardon?
Like, is it tougher to get?
Not really, because we know you. I would say, brethren, you're RDs who would like to answer that. Brother.
One thing that I think we need to say on this is that when you're overseas working with global missions, then you become a part of the global missions district. So your application will be made to global missions, not through necessarily the district that you're a part of, which you live.
Does that answer your question? Yes, sir.
And if you are licensed and you are on the field for more than 6 months, the license is transferred
To global missions.
missions.
We are a district. Global missions is a district just like Illinois, Missouri, Texas, New York. We have a district. Okay? Yes.
The requirements are the same though. The reading requirements and everything else has to be in order, no matter where you apply.
And by the way, a new thing, there are requirements now, educational requirements for appointment. There are courses you have to take. We have just installed that, I guess, last year.
It starts in 2018.
Starts in 2018. There will be requirements of certain things that we're asking for appointment.
And this will be online, I think, too.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, very good. I think our time is up. Hey, we enjoyed this. Let's give, thank you.